Hello and welcome. My name is Metamon and today we are broadcasting round 7 of the Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2, hosted by RaceOnOz's. We've got a few familiar faces in this division tonight. So here's what we got coming up. The Pagnian GT3 Series round 7 of Div 2 is meant to be round 4. But unfortunately, the guys had to postpone that round and do it at a later date, being tonight. So I'm currently in the live scenes here at Silverstone National. That's the track we'll be racing at tonight. 10-minute qualifying session to follow this practice session that's about to come to a close. 49 laps with a mandatory pit stop. And basically the same settings as what we saw in round 4 of Division 1 of the Pagnian GT3 Series. So this is the circuit that we've got to contend with tonight. 6 corners, 2.638 kilometres. I forgot to add the hotspot turns here. But if we're getting the evidence from last time from Div 1, pretty much every corner is a hot spot here because we saw overtaking from every corner around this circuit of Silverstone National. So expect there to be a lot of action in this one. It's a very short track, so very short turnaround in terms of lap times. As you can see, 54 seconds, 0.1 is the quickest at this stage in this practice session. And here's the championship scenario for the Division 2 guys. It's Bruce Howell Racing with a slight lead over Ignition Controls in the team's championship there. We go further to the driver's standings. It's the Missile with a 27-point advantage over Brett Want. So Brett Want just in contention for championship glory here. So he's got to hope that the Missile records no points tonight whatsoever, and that Brett Want clean sweeps the whole round to be able to get that advantage off him. But then even with count back, I reckon, no, he won't win that. So we go further down. We've got TT in P3 with 77 points for Next Level Racing. We've got Bounty in P4 for Selby Q6 to lead Selby car with 55 points. And we got, for Ignition Controls, Amp in P5 there with 53 points. So this mid-pack group, just like Div 1, is very heated. So all the way from position 4 to, say, position 11 with Blue XR8 in position 11. Those guys are only separated by 9 points, so it's all to play for in the mid-pack there in the standings. We've got Groover in P6 on 52 points. We've got Aaron in P7 on 51 points. We've got Adman in P8 with 50 points. We go down, we've got Gazza in P10 on 47. We've got Prodigy in P10 there as well, so they're equal on points there. I reckon on count back, Prodigy is meant to be in P9. So that's probably why he's got 9 next to his name. He's on 47. We've got Blue XR8 on 46 points. We've got Freddie P on 34 points in P12. Brennicles in P13 with 25. 24 for someone awesome, a familiar face on the broadcasting channels of Metamon. We've got Tubster in P15 there with 12 points. And then BJ in P16 with 8 points. So we'll get to the live scenes now where the practice session just came to a close, and it's Adman getting a provisional pole position in free practice here with a 54.1. That's 8/100ths of a second quicker than TT in P2. So the times, like Div 1, are extremely close here in Div 2 as well. So expect no less than complete action tonight for the round 7 installment of the Pagnian GT3 Series for Division 2, hosted by RaceOnOz's. So here we go. We're ticking over to the 10-minute qualifying session now. We've got Stu from Div 1 cracking a wildcard appearance in Division 2 tonight, but he'll be starting from the back of the grid in this one. So it's very good to see him getting on board to get a few more numbers in this grid as well. Someone awesome, Blue XR8 Bounty's coming out onto track now. We've got Brett Want out on track. He's currently the 4th driver in line. So we'll quickly see who's in front here. So currently the Missile, we saw him last night in the GTE World Series. He got pole position in the first wet race there. So we know he's quick. Let's see what he's got in regards to holding that championship lead at the top. He's got a 27-point lead. It's his to lose in this one. So pretty much all he has to do is get a decent amount of points tonight. And he's going to come home quite comfortably as the Division 2 Season 11 champion for the Pagnian GT3 Series. So here we go. He's on his first hot lap around the lovely circuit of Silverstone National. So we'll go on board cockpit view He's driving the Porsche for Bruce Hale Racing. Those guys leading the team's championship in Division 2 here. They got a slight advantage over Ignition Controls, if I'm not mistaken there. So down the back straight we go, on board with the missile. He's got no one to get a bit of a draft down this back straight, so he's going to go in alone here. Very deep braking zone, very technical last sector here. Basically, once you turn left, you have to go straight over to the right-hand side for another double apex corner here to head on to the back straight. He's going to finish a lap here at Silverstone National. Let's see if this is going to be a competitive lap here for the missile as he crosses the control line in a few moments' time, using every bit of road on exit. It's going to be a 55.2. He's going to have to improve quite substantially if he's to challenge for the top spots here. We've got Adman in P3 with 56.1. We've got TT in P3 with a 55.9. So everyone's starting to jump up here. 55.1 from Amph. He's currently P5 in the championship. So he's looking to move up in the standings based on this result so far. We've got the missile still holding P2. We've got Prodigy moving up into P3 with a 55.3. So we've got Aaron in P4 with a 55.7 there. So the top four are separated by 0.6 of a second. Go further down to TT, 0.7 off provisional pole here. We got Gaza in P6 with a 55.9. Brett Want puts in his first lap with a 56 flat. 56.1 from Adman. And then we go further down. We got Bounty in P10 with a 57 flat. 57.9 from Brennicles. We saw him in the NASCAR Sunday Series about an hour earlier. He'd be looking to recover from a result there. Unfortunately, he got disconnected from that one, so hopefully he gets a good result in this one, no doubt. So TT gets pole position provisionally here after his second hot lap with a 54.3. That's a blitzing time, but separated by less than 1/100th of a second is Brett Want in P2, almost replicating that pole position time of TT in P1. Bounty moves up in the third spot now with a 54.4, a 54.4 for Adman. So the top five contenders here separated by less than 0.3 of a second. Then we got Aaron up 0.3 of a second up on his fastest time. That's looking to pit provisional pole off of TT at the top. We got Blue XR8. He's been relegated back to P7 there. But the missile goes provisional pole now with a 54.3. That's 2.5 of a second quicker than Aaron there. And Aaron goes up into P3. And TT going up in the P1 once again with a 54.2. So the time's getting quicker and quicker around this circuit of Silverstone National. And TT is actually up on his current fastest lap by 1/100th of a second as he goes down the back straight now. He's got a car up ahead. He's able to get the slipstream benefit from. So hopefully that gives him a little bit of a gain through this mid-sector. We're about to get that indication, and it hasn't. So he's lost a bit over 1/10 of a second in that mid-sector. We've got the missile still on another hot lap here as he comes out of the last corner now at Silverstone. Out of turn 6 he goes. What's this going to be for him? He's going to improve, but not on the standings. So he's only 3/100ths down on TT. Now Adman goes up in the P1. And TT getting pole position back once again with a 54 flat. So the top two separated by 3/1000ths. But now Amph goes up in the P1 in the Next Level Racing. Correction, the Ignition Controls Racing Bentley. So he moves up in the P1 with a 54 flat. He's got 3.5/100ths of a second in hand over TT now. So these times really starting to crack into the fast time zones we saw in Div 1. So here we go. We got Brett Want in P3. I think TT was up by 1/10 of a second on his quickest lap. So quickly hop on board with him here as he comes out the last couple of corners, turn 5, turn 6. Is he able to maintain that gap that he had through the mid-sector? TT not able to improve, but Amph improves a little bit, I think. No, Adman goes up in the P2. So he's basically replicated the time of TT. Those two guys, the exact same time. 54 flat there for those two guys. We've got Brett Want in P4 with a 54 flat as well. So the top 5 contenders separated by 6/100ths of a second. We go further down. The top 10 is separated by 0.7 of a second. The whole field separated by 1.3 seconds. So this is the closest field we've actually seen so far. It's closer than Div 1 at this stage. When we compare it to the Silverstone round back in round 4 for those guys, top 5 separated by half a tenth of a second here. Missile going across the line now, looking a little bit slow. He's all the way back in P5. He's got a lot of time to be gained if he's to get up into pole position. Adman goes provisional pole now. The first of the 53s, a 53.979. The first of the drivers to get that barrier there. So what does Amp and the preceding guys have in response to that? TT, Brett Want. He's currently parked up in pit lane. So TT is the only one able to improve at this stage, as well as Amp. He's currently set up in the first sector. He's currently 2 temps down on that 54 flat there. So he's got a lot of ground to make up in the mid and last sector at Silverstone. So we're currently on board with TT, currently sitting P3, 7.5 temps behind his fastest lap. So not looking likely to improve this time around. So we'll quickly hop on board with the Missile. I reckon he's backed out of this lap because he's just letting a few guys pass here. So we'll go on board with Aaron. He's currently sitting P6 with a 54.1, 1.5 temps off a provisional pole set by Adman at this stage. So it's all to play for in the closing stages here. We've got a bit over 2 minutes to run. Adman goes slightly faster by half. Well, 6 1,000ths of a second there. Just trying to get my references done with the times. So Missile still currently P5. Brett Want coming back out on track, warming up his tyres down the back straight in his Ferrari. We've got TT and P3 there. And he's currently parked up in pit lane, so we'll go on board with Amp. Currently in the mid sector, down the back straight we go. On board with him, cockpit view. And I think he's backed out of it. He's just going to have one more run after this. So he's just letting a few guys pass by the looks of it. So we'll see who's actually on the lap. We'll go on board with Prodigy. He's currently set up on the back straight now in the mid sector. He's got no one in front of him to get the draft benefit from, but let's see what this sector split is out of Sector 2. And he's currently up by 1/1000. So he's looking to track for a top 5 position here if he can gain at least 3/10 of a second in this last sector. That's where all the time is gained here at Silverstone National. So Prodigy coming across the line in a few moments' time. What's this going to be for him? We've got 1 minute to play in qualifying here for the Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2, Round 7, hosted by RaceOnOz's. That's good enough for P7 for Prodigy. We'll go on board with Blue XR8. He's driving the Ferrari there. He's a privateer in this series, so he's not driving for a team here at RaceOnOz. And I think he's... has he backed out of it? So he's 3.5 temps down on his quickest here. He's currently sitting P8, so... not looking likely to improve, but he should get another go at it. He's got 25 seconds to get past the control line. They should get there with relative ease there. So we'll just hop on board with one of these guys up ahead. Go on board with Brett Want, currently set up in the mid-sector. So we'll spectate him for the moment here, once we get that sector split out of the mid-sector. Heading into turn 4, turn 5, turn 6. So very deep on the brakes, a very technical trail braking section of the track here. We'll try to get as far to the inside as possible so you can swing it back out to the right-hand side for turn 5's double apex corner. And then on exit, try to get up the gears. Through turn 6 we go. It's flat foot with the throttle here. So across the line now for Brett Want. He's not going to have another opportunity to improve, but he only remains P4. The Missile coming out the last corner now. Championship leader. What's this going to be for him? Is it going to be good enough for an improvement? It's not going to improve, so he remains P5. So the only driver able to improve now is the car of Blue XR8 and the Ferrari. Across the line now, he goes P2. He's jumped from P9 to P2 out of nowhere. A 54 flat, season 6 100ths of a second slower than Adman in provisional pole. So we still got Brennicles out on Brett Want, correction, out on track in P5 provisionally here. And he's not going to get past the control line in time. So there we go. There are your results for the qualifying session, setting the grid for this race at Silverstone National. I'll class it as round 7 for the Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2, but it was meant to be round 4, but a reschedule had to be required for this, so that's why it is on tonight. So these guys are really putting up a show here. Division 2 is very competitive, just like Division 1, very competitive. Those times were separated the whole grid by 1 second pretty much, and that's very similar to what we had in Division 1 a few weeks ago. So here we go. It will be Adman leading everyone into turn 1 off pole position. A very good qualifying performance from Blue XR8 in the dying stages of qualifying to go from, I think it was 9th or 10th up in the P2. So he's starting the front row. We got Amph in P3, currently P5 in the Division 2 Championship for the Pagnian GT3 Series. He'll be looking to make a lot of ground with the starting position he's got right now. TT also in the top contenders as well, starting P4. Brett Want currently sitting P2 in the championship. Needs to clean sweep this round, and he's pretty much out of contention as it stands now due to that, because he did not get pole position. So the champion of the Division 2 Series for Season 11, Pagnian GT3 Series, hosted by Race on Oz, goes to the missile here. And he's sitting P6 off the starting line there. We've got Aaron in P7, Prodigy in P8. We've got Bounty in P9, then Brennicles round out the top 10. Then we got Gaza in P11, alongside him, Someone Awesome. And we got Stu from Division 1 starting at the back of the grid. It's good to have him on board for Division 2 as well. And see what he can do from the back of the grid, but more so, what can Adman do from the front of the grid? It's going to be an all-out bit of battle to the end for these guys. Really nothing to play for in terms of the championship glory here. It's all to do with the mid-pack and the team's championship. And it's going to be Blue XR8 coming out with the lead, entering turn 1. He's going to get quite a comfortable lead of 0.2 of a second out the first corner. So Adman bogged off the line. TT up in P3. We've got Amph in P4, so he's been relegated back 1 position. We've got Brett Want staying in P5 there. The missile remaining in P6. We've got Aaron in P7. Bounty in P8. He's up a couple. Someone Awesome up a couple in P9. Brennicles up. No, he's currently remained in P10 there. We've got Stu up a couple from Div 1 in P11 there. Gaza down 1 position as he tries to go inside at turn 4 on Stu. And he gets the move done with relative ease there. And then Prodigy all the way back at the grid. He started mid-pack, so something's happened to him in the early stage of this lap that I didn't catch on stream. So I'm not sure what's happened with him. But he doesn't look to have sustained any damage. So maybe a little bit of a mistake. He's coming in the pit lane just to get that mandatory pit stop out the way. So probably a very good strategy play considering he's lost all that ground off the opening lap. So currently it's Adman up in the P1 now with a 1/10 of a second lead. So Blue XR8 been relegated back to P4 and he's under pressure from the missile, the championship leader in P5. We go down the back straight now. We've got a train of pretty much 10 cars down the back straight. Line astern, bumper to bumper. We'll go further forward on board with Adman trackside view. He's currently got a good picture behind him. TT in P2. Amph up in the P3. We've got a little bit of contact in the background between the championship leader, Blue XI, and more cars involved as well. So those two have tangled out of turn 4. Blue XR8 lucky to recover that time loss there. He's just going to have to put his head down and get back that lost time. And he's 8.5 of a second down from the lead of this one, which is currently occupied by Adman in P1. That was massive carnage on lap 2 of 49 as we got side-by-side carnage here between Amph and TT. Amph gets the move done at turn 3. Wonderful move, but then there's another overlap down the back straight. Here we go. TT on the outside, but it's going to be Amph holding the inside line. We're going to go further forward on board with Adman once again. And it's going to be Amph holding the inside line heading into turn 4. And there's no overlap now, so TT just having to get back into a rhythm here. He's going to have to remain behind Amph in P2 for the time being. You got Bounty up in the background there. He's moved a whole bunch of positions. I think he started outside the top 10, there or thereabouts. We've got Brett Want in P5 here. So currently, TT is coming to pit lane for his mandatory pit stop. It's a massive strategy call there from him to pit in this early. Someone Awesome up in the P6, the missile. Lucky to have not lost a whole heap of time there with that contact with Blue XR8 just a lap ago. So here we go. The missile really applying the pressure on Brett Want up in P4. They go side by side down the break straight almost. Brett Want holding the inside line. He knows he has to go defensive because he's got a charging championship leader. The missile on the outside lane here down the back straight on entry to turn 4. We've got a car in the background. There's someone awesome trying to send it down the inside of the championship leader. He's not able to get traction through the mid-corner. We've got cars in the background as well. Brennicles up in the P7. Stu from Div 1 up in the P8 from last on the grid. We've got Gazza in P9. Then Blue X-Ray after that contact with the championship leader, the missile, all the way back in P10. We've got a car off into the pit lane. That's the championship leader. So strategy play there for him. Aaron in P11. TT after making his mandatory pit stop. He's currently sitting P12 on track, and then Prodigy in P13, but he's also made a mandatory pit stop. So there's a whole bunch of guys that have come in for their pit stops. So not a representation of what happened in Division 1. All the guys opting to do their pit stops through the mid-stage of the race. So completely different strategy play here from these guys in Div 2. It's good to see a lot of strategy up in the air. Going to be able to determine the outcome here. We've got Bounty. He's up in the P3. He started well and truly just outside the top 10. Very good performance in this early stage from him. And he's not too far off the leaders here either. He's only three seconds off the leader this one in favour of Adman over Amph in P2. We've got Brett Want in P4. Someone awesome round out the top 5. Now you got Brennicles up in the P6. He's had a very good performance in the early stage as well. And then Gazza's got past Stu to move up in the P7. But they go side by side down the back straight now for the 6th time here at Silverstone National. But didn't get the traction through the mid-corner there, Stu. So he's just going to have to hold back right behind the rear bumper of Gazza there. Blue X8's up a position from the previous lap, up in the P9. We've got Aaron in P10. So very consistent lap times here from these guys now. 55 and 54s we're seeing consistently now. It shows you the competitiveness of the guys at RaceOnOz's. So TT starting to gain back that ground after he came into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. He's got the championship leader, the missile, right behind him. Then Prodigy in P13. So those guys not too far off each other after coming into the pits and then coming out. A few laps to go. So currently, we'll see what's happening at the front. It's Adman currently holding the lead over Amph. It's quite comfortable at this stage. 7.5 tenths of a second is the lead of that one. So out of turn 6 on lap 7. Any of these guys opt the pit in? Obviously not. Go further down, Bounty's going to come around. And then we've got Brett Want also doing the same strat. And someone awesome following. Brennicles, Gazza. And then Stu right on the rear bumper of Gazza there. Blue X8 still in P9. So the battle is at the front. It's the battle for P1 between Adman and Amph. These guys are separated by half a second as we go out of the 3rd corner of 6 corners around Silverstone National. Down the back straight we go. Amph is in the slipstream. Down the back straight. He might be able to make a move under brakes at turn 4 if he's up far enough. He's opting to stay out of it as he tries to get him under brakes through the mid-corner here. Got to keep in mind there's differences in the braking performance in these cars as well. The Bentley takes an extended distance to come to a stop. So with Amph, he's got to brake slightly earlier than the guys in the Ferraris, the Porsches, and the NSX Acuras. So it's a very difficult thing to contend with throughout the braking zones. But it's got the outright speed down the main straights here at Silverstone National, no doubt. They've at least got 2 kilometres advantage top end speed wise. So here we go, down the back straight we go. The gap was around the same last time around. Is Amph going to even try to make a dive down the inside? No, he's not. He's going to try a different line here through turn 4, turn 5. He's trying to search for grip on the outside lane so he can get an absolute ripper of a launch on exit of turn 5. So he can put himself into an attacking position heading around turn 3, turn 4 for the next time around. It's all about maintaining momentum here at Silverstone National. It's a very high average speed circuit and it's a reasonably short one as well. As you can see, lap times race pace wise is on average a 55. So shows you how quick the lap is here at Silverstone National. Getting all the way sideways. Drift City there for Amph on corner entry of turn 3. He's lost a whole bunch of time in comparison to Adman through to mid-corner there. So he's going to have the pressure relieved there in the top spot. We got Brett Want up in the P3 now as Bounty's lost out to Brett Want there on a few corners ago by the looks of it. Because those guys are pretty much bumper to bumper at this stage. We've got Bounty just trying to throw the rear end of the car around for this last sector here at Silverstone National. We've got Brennicles up in the P5, Gazza in P6, Stu in P7, so those guys are still battling it out. We've got Blue XR8 in P8, so I reckon we've had another pit stop. So someone awesome has come into the pits by the looks of it. And he's come out on track in P12. So we'll go further forward. So those guys from, I think, 9th to 13th, they've all made their mandatory pit stops in the early stage. So currently the lead in favour of Adman by 1.6 tenths of a second over Amph in P2. And then Brett Want is also putting himself into race winning contention. All he can settle for is P2 in the championship at this stage. But to come out with a race win in the last race would be a very good credit to him for his performances in this series. As for Bounty, he's in the mix for a podium finish here in the early stage. We're on lap 11 of 49, so still a fair chunk of time to go. But he's there or thereabouts to be able to put himself in the charge for a very good points-paying position here. And then Brennicles moved up a whole heap of position outside the top 10. And he's up in the 5th position. We'll wait and see what happens once everyone's come in for their pit stops. We've got Gazza in P6 still. And he's holding off Div 1 contender in Stu, who started last on the grid. So these guys started on the same row. Or one position away from one another off the start. So now it's going to be Gazza on the rear end of Brennicles. We're going to have a 3-car battle for P5. You've got Blue XR8 in the background holding off Aaron in P9. So these battles starting to heat up throughout the entirety of this field here. It's Adman coming into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. It might be a very good strategy call here. Unless he gets caught up in traffic, it might be a mistake, but we'll wait and see where he comes out on track. Because Amph has also followed him in. I think someone else has come in. We'll see who that is. So Brennicles has also drifted off in the pit lane. So 3 of our top 5 contenders through the last lap are into the pits. So your current race leader is Brett Want. He's got all the tail happy end out of turn 3 there. He's going to have to give position to Bounty because he lost a whole heap of traction and grip through the mid-corner from that Drift City scene there from Brett Want in the Ferrari. We've got Gazza up in the P3 holding off Stu in P4. Blue XR8's in P5 now, holding off Aaron in P6. So from 7th to 13th, they've all made their mandatory pit stops. Let's see where everyone else came out on track. Adman came out P9 on track. And then we've got Amph in P10, Brennicles in P11. So the Missile has gained a lot of time, as well as TT in comparison to the guys that only just stopped a lap ago. So I'm not sure if they opted to take a set of tyres or not to go onto the softer compound, because we've got a reasonable amount of cloud cover over the track here at Silverstone National. I'm pretty sure it's overcast condition weather slot here in this second slot. I forgot to put that on the details there, but it's the same weather conditions as was contended in the Division 1 Pagnian GT3 series. So every bit of detail is pretty much replicated in Div 2 here, which was meant to be round 4, but we're going to class it as round 7. This is the finale for Division 2. of the Pagnian GT3 series hosted by Race on Oz. We're currently on board with Gaza in P2, holding off a Div 1 contender in Stu for ignition controls. And he's putting quite a performance up here, Gaza, to hold off a Division 1 driver. He's had the pressure applied to him throughout the entirety of this one. These guys were line astern off the line, and it's continued throughout the entirety of this one, all the way up to lap 15 as it stands. So go down the back straight now. We've got Aaron in the background, so he got past Blue XR8 on the previous lap. So Blue XR8 seems to be struggling just a little bit here at Silverstone National. We look to recover a bit of lost ground once he comes in for his pit stop. He's the last of the drivers who have not made a pit stop yet in P5. So from P1 to P5, all those guys haven't made a pit stop. But Blue X-Ray not making a pit stop. He's only about 13 seconds ahead, 15 seconds ahead of TT, who's the first of the stoppers here. So he's not too far off Blue XR8 in front there. So Bounty's got a 22-second lead over TT then. So Bounty all the way from outside the top 10 up in the P1 as it stands out on track. But that's yet to change once he comes in for his pit stop. We've got Gazza in P2. We'll go further down. Let's see how the guys that have made their pit stops are tracking. So we've got TT holding off the Missile, the championship leader. And then right behind him is Adman in P9. We've got Amph in P8 for Adman. And in P9 we got Amph. And in P10 we've got Brennicles. P11, Southern Awesome. These guys are all bumper to bumper, as you see Brett Want right on the rear bumper of Southern Awesome, just trying to apply the pressure as much as possible through the mid-stage of this one. He's going to try to send it down the inside of turn 4. He's going to get it done under brakes as he go out wide. Is Southern Awesome able to get a cutback manoeuvre made here? He's going to try for it at turn 5 through the double apex corner. A little bit of contact has sent Southern Awesome into the infield there, and he's completely rotated. So a little bit of a misjudgment from Southern Awesome, making contact with Brett Want out of the penultimate corner there. He's lucky it's still early mid-stage race time here. He's still able to get that time back. But now he's under pressure from Prodigy behind. And Prodigy is the last of the cars in the field. He's currently sitting P13. And he's still on the lead lap because Bounty still yet to come into the pits. Gaza also, and then Stu right behind him. We've got Aaron, who's putting up quite a performance so far as well. So these top 4 guys, from 2nd to 4th, they're all bumper to bumper, just like the guys that have pitted in. So we'll watch this battle with a close eye for the next few laps or so. So we'll quickly hop on board with Stu cockpit view as he tries to chase down Gaza in P2, but also try to hold off Aaron in P4 in the process as well. So he's going to come at a compromise here. What does he do? Does he defend or does he attack? We'll wait and see. He's got a lot of experience, Div 1 driver here at Race on Oz. You know, he's got the pace to maintain position here, but he's going to drift off in the pit lane. So he's saying he's going to have none of what's to come. So he's just going to get out of that battle there. So Aaron moves up into P3. So that means Gaza remains in P2. So the top 3 contenders in this race so far, yet to make their mandatory pit stops. Stu and Blue XR8 have followed each other in. And that's TT come down the main straight across control line now. And he will move up into P4. As you see, more cars in the background. Championship leader, the Missile, holding off Adman in P6. Those guys are less than a tenth of a second apart here. So this is a battle to look forward to in the later stage here. Unfortunately, a disconnection from Southern Awesome. So we go through turns 3 here, down the back straight. And Adman really applying the pressure to the championship leader, the Missile. It's a very tough task to get past the championship leader. And he's going to try down at turn 4, down the inside. As the championship leader goes out wide. But he's got the inside line heading into turn 5. But he backs out of it. Very good move made by Adman. He's on a charge here. He wants to win this race, the last race of the season. He's got nothing to play for but the race win here for the final round for the Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2 Season 11. So that's the missile. He's trying to get back into the groove. We've got Amp in the background. He's about a few hundred metres down the road, rearwards of the missile. And then for company is Brett Want on the rear bumper there for Amp. And Stu tracking well in P9 after his pit stop. He's holding off Brennicles in P10. And we got Prodigy in P11 there. And he's driving out of Bruce Hale Racing. Those guys leading the team's championship in Division 2. So a lot of weight on his shoulders to get a big haul of points tonight in regards to maintaining that lead over Ignition Controls. We got Blue XR8. He's a privateer, so he's not driving for a team's championship. He's driving for himself here. He's currently sitting P12. You see Bounty. He's about to lap Blue XR8 there. But currently hasn't made a pit stop. We got Gazza in the background trying to hold off Aaron, who's got his lights on. And he might be able to make a move down the inside, heading into turn 4 in this deep trail braking zone. He's going to take a look. It seems as though Gazza's got him under brakes there. He's went out a little bit wide, and that's a rotation from Aaron. So a little bit too deep, a little bit too aggressive through the mid-corner of turn 4. He's just going to have to come into the pits now, and I reckon that's what he'll do. Just to see where he's going to come out in comparison. No, he opts to stay out. So he's just trying to rotate as many laps as possible before he comes in for that pit stop. I seem to have taken the overview off the screen for some odd reason. So we're entering the mid-stage here. Currently, Bounty is your race leader. We'll go on board cockpit view as he tries to get past lap traffic in Blue XR8. And he does so as Blue XR8 just lets out the throttle a little bit down this back straight. He's going to try and get him on the brakes. I thought there was a little bit of contact there. Blue XR8 rotating it out of turn 4 in the background, the rear view mirror of Bounty there. Let's see if he drifts off in the pit lane. Obviously not. So Bounty will take you on board for a full lap here around Silverstone National. So now in between next lap, I'll be quiet just for a little bit. Oversteer out of turn 5, but it was quite a fine lap from Bounty. That's going to be a 56.4 at this stage of the race. That's quite a good time considering the tyre degradation. It's accelerated tyre wear, so the tyres will be hurting just a little bit through this stage. So it's going to be a lot of nursing the tyres home to the very end if each of these guys are going to stay on the same set of tyres. So currently Gazza's in P2 there. We've got Aaron in P3. He made a mistake just a couple of laps ago, and he's looking to get right back into the groove. We've got TT. He's the first of the pit stoppers. He's got a lot of pressure from the guys behind him, but he's got to contend with lap traffic by the looks of it. No, that's Adman in the Ferrari. He's just lost out to TT, who has moved up in the P4 now. So this is the provisional battle for the lead of this one at this stage based on the numbers. So we'll stay on board and watch this with a close eye for the next few laps as Adman tries to send it down the inside of TT. They almost make side-by-side contact. He's lucky to get out of that there. Very good car control and situational awareness. The missile championship leader right on the rear bumper of Adman, who's currently sitting P5. Go on cockpit view to see it all unfold in front of him. This is going to be bumper-to-bumper stuff, wheel-to-wheel, these guys. It's all out sideways for the missile on turn 1. And he's almost into the wall at turn 1 as well. He diff-locked it, and he's ended up into the escape road and into the outside wall at turn 1. Disastrous scenes for the championship leader. He's lucky he sealed the championship because that was a costly mistake there. But now we'll go back on board with the battle we were spectating before. TT trying to hold off Adman. These guys are battling it out for P4, P5. So TT with a bit of a defensive line through turn 5. He's looking to hold on quite fine there. He's going to get a decent exit as well as he blazes away out of the mid-corner on corner exit. So that gap's starting to extend out between these two, but then it comes back to less than a tenth of a second down the top-end speed parts of the track. So TT going out the slightest bit wide because now Adman is right on the rear bumper. They go side by side, heading into turn 2 and turn 3. It's going to be TT with the inside line, the defensive line. They go side by side through the mid-corner as we go down the back straight now. Is it going to be Adman moving up in the P4? He's got the inside line heading to turn 4 now. He should be able to pull it off. You can see, I think, Brett Want in the background there. But that was a wonderful move there. Made it a few corners before. And that means TT has been relegated back to P5 now. So we'll see how Brett Want's tracking here in P6. Doesn't have much pressure from behind. The closest pressure is the championship leader. He's a further 2 seconds behind him. We've got Ant from P8. We've got Stu from Div 1 in P9. We've got Brett Brennicles in P10 there. And then Blue XR8 in P11. He's currently a little bit over a lap down now. So almost 1.5 laps down for him. And I think Bounty has come in for his mandatory pit stop. He comes back out on track in P11 just ahead of Amph. So where is Amph? He's right behind the rear bumper of Blue XR8. Who's right behind Bounty in P7. So those guys are only separated by 2 seconds from one another. As they all come down the back straight now. Currently on board with the championship leader. In the background of him, that's Bounty with the lights on for Selby Acoustics. Racing now, Bruce Hale Racing, leading the team's championship. Is the championship leader. So he's trying to track forward. And he's trying to put an attack on Brett Want in a few laps' time. See the championship leader in the background there. Missile. Aaron up in the P2. So he's still yet to come in for a pit stop as well as Gaza. These two guys 2.5 seconds away from one another. So we'll currently see what goes on here. We're currently on lap 28 of 49. So we're well and truly past the halfway mark. So it would be wise to start to think about when they're pitting in. Yeah, here we go. Gaza has responded to the call. It's going to be Aaron who stays out for at least one more time here at Silverstone National. Provisional race leader Adman in P3. He's 9 seconds down from Aaron in P1. Who's coming out of exit of turn 1 on entry to turn 2 out of the first sector. And we got... So Gazza's still parked up in pit lane. So he's going to have a fair few of the guys go past him down the main straight now. Cross control line for Brett Want. He moves up in the P4. The Missile moves up in the P5. And that's Bounty moving up in the P6. Gazza exiting pit lane now. He should be able to maintain P8 here. Right, so Stu moves up in the P8. So that means Gazza all the way from first, all the way back to 9th after making his pit stop. So it looks like he's lost a little bit of time through that mid stage. But he's going to be able to gain back that time in the next 20 laps or so. So look for a charge from him. But for now, it's Aaron with a 6-second lead over Adman in P2. He's coming out of the last corner now, and he's setting up quite fine race pace. 55.1 last lap, 55 flat. He's backed it up the next time around. So his race pace is drifting only by 1/10 of a second, which is extraordinary. You got TT behind him, 54.9. So he's slightly quicker than Adman on the last time around. But he doesn't have the track position here. So as soon as he catches up to the rear bumper, those two will be recording the exact same lap times. And it looks as though it's going to be like that on this time around as they go down the back straight. So TT in the slipstream. but not able to make the move because he's not up far enough. A little bit extra oversteer on exit of turn 4. He holds onto it with good car control there. So we come out of turn 5. Decent traction and good exit there for TT. So we'll go on board cockpit view of him to see how this lap is going to track in regards to trying to challenge for the provisional race lead here. Uses every bit of exit curve possible on exit of turn 1. Shows the absolute commitment required to be able to maintain this pace here at Silverstone National. Two very different lines taken at turn 3 here. It's going to be TT getting a slightly better launch out of turn 3. But not much of a difference there. So last time around they replicated each other's lap times once again, separated by 7/100ths of a second. Now, let's see who's got the fastest lap because there is a bonus point for that. So 54.6 for the leader in Aaron, 54.7 for Adman, 54.5 for TT, 54.4 for Brett Want. Championship leader out of the scenario at this stage. So Brett Want has the provisional fastest race lap so far. Oh, don't want to do that. There we go. So there we go. We'll go back trackside view. So wait to see when Aaron comes in the pit lane. Currently sitting P1 with a 5.5 second gap over Admin and P2. Got TT in P3. So he's going to be looking the track right on the rear bumper for the remainder of this race up into the final lap, where he's more than likely going to make a move for the race victory here. So he doesn't need to do so anytime soon unless Admin makes a mistake. You want to try capitalise off of those opportunities as much as possible. And we've got Brett Want coming across the control line in P4 there. Missile currently rounding out the top 5. Behind him is Bounty. He started just outside the top 10 or around 10th. He's up in the P6, so he's our biggest mover so far. Exclusion of Stu there, who started the race in P13, but he has come from Div 1. So we know it's a very easy task to punch through the grid, considering he's very fast in terms of race pace here at Silverstone. He's one of our top contenders at Silverstone in Div 1. Got a good outing there for his championship. So Gaz is trying to track the ground back on Stu after he made his pit stop a few laps ago. We've got Brennicles in P10 holding off Blue XR8. The Blue XR8's a lap down. We got contact between these two. I reckon there's an apology there from Blue XR8. Just a little bit of a flash of the lights there. I'm not sure what went on there between those two. But completely sideways for Brennicles on entry to turn 3. And that set him back a whole bunch of time there. So we're currently on board with Gaza. Aaron, when is he going to come into the pits? He's coming out of turn 5 now. So he's going to be looking to make the pit stop as late as possible here. So we're currently on lap 35 of 49. So he's got a bit over 15 laps to go here at Silverstone National. So, and the leaders are tracking quite closely behind him with Adman and TT about 5.5 seconds behind him. So they're not too far off. This is the provisional lead for the leader, this one. So here we go. We're on board with Adman here. Coming out of the back straight here. Almost bumper to bumper between those two. It's about 0.8 of a second in hand of Adman over TT in P3 there. We've got Brett Want about a whole straight in the background there behind these guys. So it looks to be like a 2-car race for the lead here. Unless these two guys come together at some point in the later stage. That's the only thing that will keep Brett Want in a position to win this race. Got the missile tracking in P5. He's not blazing away there. He's keeping it consistent, but he's not the fastest on track. There are a few guys ahead of him. Adman, TT, and Brett Want. They're all faster than him on the previous lap by between 1/10 and 3/10 of a second. So it looks like he's just trying to settle down here. The missile, the championship leader. We got Bounty in P6. He's still got a lot of ground to catch up on with the championship leader. And in the background, we've got Amp, who's holding off Stu, Div 1 driver here, making a wildcard appearance tonight. He's going to look to make a move down the inside in turn 4. These guys up on their fastest race laps here. Stu up by 4/100ths of a second on his race lap. Well, 4/1000ths, correction. So here we go, out of turn 5. These guys still bumper to bumper. It's going to be Amph with the slight advantage over his ignition controls teammate from Div 1. So here we go, going a little bit wide in Amph at turn 1. He's got to invite Stu to make an attacking manoeuvre soon. So the provisional lead in favour of Adman over TT. These guys separated by 4/10 of a second. We might quickly hop on board with them. These guys racing for 2 different teams. So here we go, bumper to bumper. This is going to be a very exciting lap here. I can feel it as TT tries to take a move, heading into turn 1, but not able to get the traction through the mid-corner. He's just going to have to hold back a little while longer. He's going to have to gain a lot of ground under brakes in turn 2 and turn 3. It's the prime opportunity to set a move heading into turn 4. Right on the rear bumper in slipstreaming range here. It looks like Adman's going a little bit defensive midway through the back straight here. But he looks to be safe just for a little while longer. TT not able to make the move. He's not up close enough. So he's going to have to set him up soon. He's just going to have to assess where he's going to have to gain the ground and be able to set a move up for a certain corner. And it looks to be turn 4. It's where all of our moves have been made so far. And here we go once again. Making a little dive at turn 1 is TT, but not able to get it pulled up through the mid-corner. So these guys are going to be racing bumper to bumper for the rest of this one. Brett Want with a lot of gap in front of him and behind him. See the championship leader just in the background entering turn 3 now. The missile. Where's Bounty tracking? He's still tracking well in P6. We've got the battle for P7 between the ignition controls teammates and Amph and Stu. I don't think these guys will play hard to get for here. I reckon Amph would want to maintain the position, no doubt, considering he's driving entirely in Div 2. So I reckon Stu playing more of the rear gunner role here this time around, because Amph looking to seal the deal for top 5 in the championship. Wait and see if he can pull it off with the position he's got now in P7. Not looking likely to move up into the top 5. We'll wait and see where he ends up. So currently this is the battle for P1. So it's Adman over TT. It's the provisional battle for P1 because we still have Aaron yet to make his mandatory pit stop. And he's 4.8 seconds ahead of these guys. You've got to keep in mind the pit transit is around the 22-second mark. And that's not even counting the stop that you've got in your pit box as well. So around about a 27-second pit stop here at Silverstone National. So we look at those numbers. Aaron should be around about the P8, P9 mark. Provisionally, it'll be in between Stu and Gazza there. We've got Brett Want in P10, a lap down. So he wouldn't lose out the Brett. Well, Brett Brennickel's there. Correction. Those two guys have the same acronym for their name here. So here we go, half a second in favour of Adman. This battle for P2 provisionally to battle for P1. We might actually go on board with TT for the next time around. We'll just see what unfolds throughout that entire lap there. We'll keep it quiet. You'll turn the volume up and hear what goes on throughout this next lap and see if TT can make the move. So yeah, I saw the comment there, Penguin. Yeah, there's no penalties at this stage. I just quickly brought that up on screen. So currently these two guys are racing for the lead of this race. Back to our traditional trackside view. Try to get the bigger picture. And that means after the pit stop made by Aaron, he does come out in between Stu and Gaza. So that means Adman has control of this one. His last lap was a 54.5 in comparison to TT behind a 54.7. Those guys separated by 0.2 of a second down the back straight now. And we got less than 6 laps to play here. There's a lot of movement through the mid-corner here of turn 4. As TT tries to make a last-minute attack down the inside at turn 4. And it seems as though he's lost out just a little bit trying to make that move. He got bogged down throughout that mid-corner there of turn 5. He's going to have to track for another opportunity in the next few laps or so. He's running out of laps to do so. So it's going to be an all-out attack session here for TT. It's going to be a sprint race to the end between these two. We've got 5.5 laps to go. No, correction, 4.5. So here we go. TT trying to track to move up in the P1. Once again, down the back straight. It's going to be Adman taking the defensive line there. He knows he's under extreme amount of pressure as TT tries to look for a gap down the inside, but it's not possible to make that gap happen. Otherwise, he'll be on the grass, and it wouldn't be a good situation for him. So here we go. It's going to be another attempt at an overtaking manoeuvre through the entirety of the next lap. So Adman has the current track position here in P1 over TT. These guys have been battling it out for the entirety of this one. Ever since they both come out and rejoin the track with one another, it's been a bumper-to-bumper fight between these two. And Adman's made a little bit of a mistake. They've had a little bit of contact through the mid-corner of turn 3. Now we go side by side down the back straight. Is TT able to get a cutback manoeuvre made on turn 4? Wait and see how it unfolds. He's trying to look for it. He might be able to try and do it at turn 5. Getting a little bit tail happy in the rear end. Now we go through the double apex corner of turn 5. So he wasn't able to make the move there. I reckon Adman, he holds on to fight another day here. But for how long? Because TT is right on the rear bumper here. He might look to make a dive heading into turn 1. He's going to show the nose. And he's going to send it down the inside. Does he get the traction? No, he doesn't. Once again, those two make a little bit of a mistake on exit there. Adman having to rejoin in P1. Those two almost made contact. A good situational awareness from those two just to settle themselves down. Now it's a 6/10 advantage in favour of Adman at the top. So TT has to regain that momentum if he's to make another attack in the next 3.5 laps here at Silverstone National. It's Brent Warren lurking in the background. So if anything is to happen to the top 2 contenders, he is there to win this race. We've got the Missile, the championship leader. He's currently sitting P4. Then we've got Bounty round out the top 5. He's holding off 2 ignition control cars of Amped and Div 1 driver of Stu. We've got Aaron coming out in P8. So he's looking to put himself into the battle for P5 as well. If he can make a little bit more ground than what he's doing now. We've got Gaza holding off Brennicles. That's the battle for P9 there. So back to the front we go, where it's currently Adman out of turn 3. Getting a little bit bogged down through the mid-corner there, because now TT is right on the rear bumper and able to apply the pressure once again. They're going to go side by side for another time around here down the back straight. Is TT going to be able to make the move this time around? No, he's caught on the outside. He's going to try and get an overlap, a lot of oversteer through corner exit. But it's going to be Adman with good defensive driving there. His Ferrari is the widest Ferrari we've ever seen at Silverstone here. And we'll currently see if there's any more. No, there's no time penalties here. So it looks as though the guys in Div 1 had a lot of time penalties granted in this round of Silverstone, because Penguin won the race on track, but he lost the race based on time penalties. So yeah, nothing to lose here between these two. But yeah, very hard to pass in the turn 1, Sainty, but if you can get the absolute commitment through the mid-corner, it is possible, but you've got to be a very good driver to do so. So Adman holding off TT in P2.
On all social medias.
So here we go, Brett 1 in P3. We got the Missile in P4. Bounty round out the top 5 here. We've got Anthem P6 lurking in the background. His Ignition Controls Div 1 teammate in P7. We got Aaron in P8. Gaza in P9, still holding off Brennicles in P10. So we go back on board with Adman. It's the final lap of this race at Silverstone National. And it's Adman with a slight advantage over TT. 7/10 of a second in hand, surely. If he doesn't make a mistake, he keeps it on the grey stuff here. He's going to come out with the final round victory here for the Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2. Hosted by RaceOnOz's. The last couple of corners now. Very deep under brakes from TT behind for Bruce Howard Racing. What is he able to do out of the 5th corner here? He's not going to have the launch required. So it's going to be Adman coming out with a commanding victory here. He came from, I think, the 3rd row of the grid, all the way up in the P1. That was a very good performance from him. TT coming home in P2. Brett 1 in P3. The Missile Championship leader and champion-elect here. He's going to come out the championship victory, coming home in P4. We got Bounty in P5, holding off Amp in P7, 6 there, and then Stu in Div 1 in P7. Aaron coming home in P8. Gazza's going to come home in P9 on the lead lap. An unfortunate scenes there for Brennicles through the mid-stage. Contact with Blue XR8 in the Ferrari. Set his fortunes back just a little bit here. So there are your unofficial results for the final round of the Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2, hosted by RaceOnOz's. I hope you enjoyed that installment for the Div 2 guys. It's the first time they've had their series broadcasted here, so I really thank them for having me broadcast this series tonight. And thank you for Blue XR8 for asking for me to do this. It was a very good opportunity to be able to get to know a lot of these guys in Div 2. See, we go further down. Who got the fastest lap here? So we're looking at a 54.3 from Brett 1. Go further down. He's got the fastest lap there. So he'll finish the series in P2. And it looks like Bruce Howard Racing will come out victorious in Division 2 with the team's championship. So I hope you enjoyed that installment here for RaceOnOz's Pagnian GT3 Series Division 2. I'll be MetaMonN, and I'll see you for Season 12 of RaceOnOz's Project Cars Series on the Sunday night. And for now, in between then, stay